allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We thought with the results in November we wouldn't get anybody to come out. We appreciate your interest. I just want to say a few things. From a positive note, Ann Wagner, of course, won for Congress in the 2nd Congressional District, and she's already, I think she's leading, a leader of the freshman class, but also she was on C-SPAN giving a talk about pro-life issues, this week being a lot of people coming to Washington to protest Roe versus Wade, and so I don't know, so you got that email that went around, but we got that to be thankful for.
That's exciting. She's getting a lot of good visibility too, yeah.
And I think there's going to be an interesting race down in the 8th district, which is with Joanne Emerson stepping aside. We're going to see whether or not Peter Kinder jumps in there. I know Lloyd Smith, who's the executive director of the Republican Party, he's now resigned to take that seat or to run for that seat. So there's always something going on. And then, of course, in February we have our state Lincoln Days, which this time is in St. Louis. And a lot of times people don't want to come to Lincoln Days because it's in Kansas City or in Springfield, and you have to get a hotel and so on. Well, this year it's in St. Louis, so it's a real opportunity to attend the Lincoln Days and see what it's all about.
And there's sign-up ones on the table.
Yeah.
What are they going to have?
Renaissance.
St. Louis Renaissance Grand.
And it's over President's Weekend, that weekend I should say, so it's Friday and Saturday, what are the dates on that? Do you know?
15th and 16th.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. And then,
Yeah, February.
and then we have our St. Louis County Lincoln Reagan Days. When is that?
That's in March.
That's
In
in March.
March.
Now, with those, we always try to get a table together of our township if we can, because, it's supporting the whole St. Louis County effort. And Rich, who's that speaker? He's supposed to be pretty good.
Michael Massey, he's a syndicated op-ed columnist for the Daily Rant, and Mark Reardon's going to be the
And
MC.
Mark Reardon's.
So if we can, they have tables of 10, if we can get together a table, it'd be great. And there is an early bird special. I think we have to have our money in by February 15th. So if anybody's interested, afterwards at the social, talk to me or Frida or Rich, and, we can put together a table. It'd be fun.
Could you just pass those around when you're done?
We need
Sure.
10
There's
pages.
more flyers back at the table. if you
Why
want
don't
to
we
take
pass them around so
Yeah.
everybody?
Is 10
At
or
10 is a table. Well, I mean, if we can get
Nice.
2 tables, it'd be great, but let's shoot for one, is our immediate goal. $40 a person, dinner includes buffet and open bar. They used to always say cash bar.
That's true.
That's a good deal.
Then we'll have to get a hotel room.
Oh, wait, open bar is, unlimited. and
It's
anything
closed, it's
you
an
want.
Orlando
Bar
Park
is-
on Watson
Bar,
Road.
as far as I'm concerned.
Orlando
Let's go.
Gardens
Let's
on
go.
Watson,
Yeah.
that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could all
I
carpool
think
together,
that'd be
make a real
nice
funny
for us
weekend.
to do all.
Store
Sign up.
Okay.
Well,
55.
Beth,
We
you'll-
get a bus.
I heard today that the House kicked the ball down the road a ways, so we won't be having a financial Armageddon until May, I guess, when they can get a
By
budget
May.
going. And then the biggest thing, of course, happening in the Missouri legislature is naming the new bridge after Stan Musial. So we're off to
Yay.
a good start.
Can we get our petition here and
What is
sign
the
it?
Illinois side gonna name it?
The
Governor
Costello.
Blagovic.
Well,
No,
I think
Costello.
we're going to see consensus.
You're bad.
As a matter of fact, I heard Dick Durbin on the radio, and he's all
behind
in favor of it.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah,
it's
come
gonna-
over here for the
I
ball
think that
game.
would
it's
be
gonna
a
happen.
compromise,
No,
you know.
Cardinal
Stand-
fans.
Fan.
Yeah, I did.
So I know Frida's got a few things she'd like to say, so would you like to have the floor?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
While I sip my wine.
Why not?
Well, thank you all, like Rich said, for you all to come out in such a cold night, but I would like to make a few comments about the November election. I don't know about you, but I was pretty devastated. I did not look at any election results for about 2 months, could not bring myself to it. As I said in my email, Jefferson Township voted Democrat. I thought it was the first time, but Rich tells me this has happened in the past. But we need to turn this around. We need to get the Republican again. The one thing I have a difficulty understanding why people voted overwhelmingly for Romney and Wagner. Over 9,000 votes for Romney and Wagner. And then it dropped down into the 8,000 and 7,000 votes for all the other Republicans down ticket. None of them won. Wagner won with 9,000. And all our down ticket statewide candidates lost. Very disappointing. But it's great for Ann Wagner that she won. She ran a great campaign. It's a great win. I'm glad she made it to Congress.
Should be good.
One very positive fact about our township is that our voter turnout is very high. It's over 80%. A lot of townships in the county are below us. We're one of the highest ones, the second highest one. That's pretty good.
That is exciting.
Yeah, we should be very proud of
Well,
that.
maybe not.
We should just
Good.
get more Republicans to vote.
Yeah, I was gonna
If it's
say.
a Democrat.
I guess those numbers can hurt us some.
Yes. What are we gonna do about that? We need to rebuild the Republican voter base in this township. With the help of my husband Bob, I'm in the process of building a database that will tell me, who all the people in this township are that are registered to vote, that have voted in the past, what are their ages, where do the young people live? Because we need to attract more young people to the polls. Who participates in the political process? What is their party affiliation? We can sort this by precinct or polling place, and then the real work starts. Once we have all that. I will be looking for volunteers that would be willing to do some canvassing in their precincts or just on their street or in their neighborhoods, and find out where the conservatives live, and encourage them to participate in the process. And this can be done either by walking door to door or with phone calls from your computer. I am working with an organization that makes such a system available. They just need to get it ready. You will hear more about this. It's important that more people get involved in our local governance. And I'm very encouraged for the turnout today. I tried to get some speakers. Everybody had other plans, so I thought, well, we still need to have a meeting. We need to keep this going, and so I'm encouraged by how many people showed up. Thank you all for coming. It's great. So what else happened this year? You know that every township elects a committee man and woman. After all, you voted for Rich and myself last August. But did you know that out of 56 committee men and women in St. Louis County, there were 20 new people elected, mostly young people, that had not participated in local politics before? So that's good news. And this has happened across the state of Missouri. And this group of new committee people elected a new central committee chairman, and I would like to recognize Rich McGee for serving as committee chairman and graciously agreed to let somebody else new take the helm. Let's give Rich a hand. These new people across the state elected a new Missouri Republican State Committee. Close to 50% of those people were new grassroots conservatives of the new state committee. At their first meeting, they elected a new GOP party chair. and Martin. So change is happening. Anybody have any questions?
I wondered what you guys that know more than me, why did the down ticket do so?
I don't know. I
Rich,
think
you got a
Rich has a theory.
Well, what I've heard, more than one person say it was the Todd Aiken effect.
Yeah.
Right.
His comments just turned a lot of people off from voting
To
Republican.
the Republican chair.
And I think the way that whole thing was handled, when that first happened, it just turned everybody off. It was very badly handled, I think.
Well, he lost about 15 percentage points in the polls too after that.
Right.
It wasn't competitive from that point on, and yeah, I think it hurt the ticket all over. And Ann Wagner told me they were running, the Democrats were running interviews of that in Massachusetts, don't vote for Brown, because then he'll be reinforcing this majority of
Right.
this evil anti-female type.
I think the Aiken effect hurt people across the country. It had a negative effect. That was very unfortunate. And I wish the party hoopahs would have handled it a little more discreet when that happened. Instead of blasting it publicly, they should have gotten to him and told him to get out, instead of telling him publicly, and that got his back up. He said, I'm not gonna get out unless the party tells me. I think it could have been handled differently, but it is what it is. It's under the bridge. Maybe we can do better next time.
I think it really made the race between Rick Stream and Deb Lavender a lot closer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I
Oh,
heard
yeah.
from people that were going door to door in Kirkwood that, that frequently the people would bring that up, that they would not vote for Rick Stream because he was a Republican.
Because of
Todd Aiken.
Aiken, yes. Well, hopefully it was a lesson, yes,
No, he
Charles.
won by.
I think we had talked about it in the past, but there's a new Republican co-director, the St. Louis County Board of Election Commissioners. Maybe we
Gary
could
Fuhrer.
try to get him
Yes,
to come. 'Cause he could talk about a lot of these issues.
right. I talked to him, and today he starts vacation. He's on his way to Florida. Huh?
Didn't he just start the job?
Yes,
It's tough, Rich, I mean, come on.
but he assured me that he would be available, in the next month.
Well, speaking of the next month, I honestly think we should forego February and concentrate on getting a table or two together for, the other thing, or going down to the one. When is Lincoln
Orlando.
Reagan Day? What month, how early in March is that?
The state is, February 15, 16.
Yeah, and then the other one's
The
in March.
county is, March 23rd.
Oh, okay, well then, I'm sorry, we can meet in February maybe, but forego March if we all go to that.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have municipal elections coming up, April 2nd. There is 4 open seats on the Kirkwood School Board.
Oh, really?
No, there's 4 candidates for 2 open seats.
I was gonna say, they can't have that many open. 4 candidates that they've already filed and everything, and
Yes.
filing is over.
And I would like to have some of those candidates come and tell us what they would do for the school
Good
board.
idea.
I mean, it doesn't have to be long, 5, 10 minutes. Yes,
I think we really have to work at getting some good candidates.
yes.
And now Rick Stream is he's gonna
It's
be
turned out.
out, and so we need someone in there that, Lavender, she's probably gonna run again.
Right, and
She's
next time she probably
running.
has an even better chance. But you're absolutely right, that's something that we have to get involved in, is to find better
Identify,
candidates and
yeah.
identify them now, not 6 months before the election. We need to work on this now, so they can work the district, make themselves available, visit township meetings like this and other meetings, so people get to know them. So if you have anybody, if you know anybody, we should explore that now. 2 years is not a very long time.
The 4 candidates for the school board, are any of them incumbents?
I don't think so. I know two of them are sort of on the conservative side, fiscal conservative. The school board candidates really don't, well, they're not, it's nonpartisan. They're not talking about their political affiliation, but they're very fiscally conservative. And school boards are known to spend lots of money. I don't know if you've read about this. The school board decided to build some things that were turned down in the bond issue because they have the money. They didn't really need the bond issue. They had the money in their maintenance fund. So now they approved to build all that stuff. It's just improvements at the ball field.
The swimming pool and
No, the swimming pool was turned down. That will
Yeah,
not
it
be
was
built.
athletic.
But a lot of other stuff that was in the
She
bond
about
issue, they're
Kirkwood?
doing it now
Yeah.
because they've had the money anyway.
It's new bleachers and a press box.
And
they're gonna do
handicap
even more
access and
there.
stuff like that. Now, why didn't they tell us that when they ran the bond issue? Why do they always have to hide these things? It's not very nice.
It's not
That's-
very transparent.
Well, it turns people off, yes.
Rita, what are the current boundaries of Jefferson Township?
There's a map back there of Jefferson
Is
Township,
that a current one?
yes. I had that printed earlier. Not all the legislative districts within it are accurate, but the boundaries are correct.
Boundaries.
How did, our one friend do against Jean Kirkton? I don't know that I paid attention.
Oh, see, she came out of the blue too.
Well, I know,
In
but
that,
I don't,
that's
do you remember,
a
Rich?
perfect
She
example.
didn't do very well.
No,
She was about
No one
3,000
knew
votes
it.
down, or 2,000 or 3,000 votes down from Kirkton.
And how many votes were you down?
no.
Less than that.
They're
600.
doing it and-
Yeah. I guess it was a Democrat year.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about Agenda 21. Have you all heard that term?
What?
Agenda 21.
Your email was the first I heard of it.
Really? I am not going into a lot of details. There is handouts in the back. I don't think I have enough for everybody. I didn't think so many people would be here. But if you put your name on that yellow sheet, I'll get it to you. The goal of Agenda 21 is primarily to undermine private property rights through environmental, social, economic, and educational policies. This is an effort that is driven worldwide and at the national, state, and local level. I'm not going into a lot of details, I'm just highlighting terms that are being conveyed, that are being used to convey the goals of Agenda 21. Sustainable development policies is a term that is widely used to describe Agenda 21 goals. It sounds very benign, and why would we not be in favor of it? Other terms are the visioning and consensus process. Consensus process is very underhanded, I think. Nobody votes on anything. People just sit around and talk about visioning things that we all like, and sort of kind of come to an agreement. And then the people that leads the discussion says, well, we've reached consensus. There was no vote. This is then carried forward to the next level, and the same thing happens. They reach consensus. And at some point or another, it gets to a planning and zoning board, or it gets to a city hall vote, and the people that present this say, well, this is what the people wanted. We have reached consensus. We just now need your vote. ICLEI, I-C-L-E-I, is Local Government for Sustainability. Kirkwood has already signed on to it. That's how they get the local governments to sign up for Agenda 21 stuff. And funds are made available, grants. So if Kirkwood wants to build a bike trail, they can get a grant, or a hiking path, or stuff like that, which is all very nice. Who would be against a bike trail or a hiking trail? Especially if the government pays for it. But that's how they get themselves into local government. Regionalism, city-county merger. Sound familiar? Smart meters. The Ameren UE, I don't think they're doing it now because they just redid all their meters, but they put the meter on your house with the purpose of that they can read it. They don't have to come to your house anymore, they can just read it off the central computer. But they can do other stuff. Maybe you're using too much energy, they can turn it off. That's one of the things that smart meters will allow them to do.
It's in California too. Yeah, that's right.
Right. Some states are much farther ahead. We live in the Midwest, we're a bit more conservative, we don't go for all that stuff, but it's happening. Wildland projects, that's primarily related to rural areas, or smart growth, that's primarily related to urban areas. You might hear the term stack and pack. We all need to live together, close together, stack them up, don't spread out. Planning and zoning commissions to be incorporated into the master plan. Agenda 21 gives equal voice to representatives from the UN, government officials from the State Department, the Interior Department, Agriculture, the EPA, National Park Service, Forest Service, Fish and Wildlife, and organizations like the Nature Conservatory, National Wildlife Federation, Zero Population Growth, Planned Parenthood, Sierra Club, National Education Association, and many others. Mind you, none of these people that attend the various conferences are elected, but they make decisions for us. They agree to these things. 5 major documents and agreements have been published since 1992. The Convention on Climate Change, which resulted in Kyoto Climate Change Protocol, Biodiversity Treaty, which is restricting human development. For instance, the Ozark region is scheduled to be restricted for human habitation development. We don't want any people living there. We need to preserve it for the animals. The Rio Declaration, which aims to eliminate poverty worldwide through redistribution of wealth. Where have I heard that before?
Say that again?
To eliminate poverty worldwide through redistribution of the wealth.
And that's Agenda 21.
Barack Hussein Obama.
Got it.
Who started Agenda 21?
United Nations. One world government. Convention on Forest Principles, the international management of forests. You know, Clinton in his last year, right before he left office, he declared millions of acres in Utah as wildlife. Nobody can, there's no foresting anymore, there's nothing. It's just, government has to stay out of it. Or private industry has to stay out of it, I'm sorry. Agenda 21 is the full agenda of worldwide sustainable development. And there are others. The Law of the Sea Treaty, the Small Arms Treaty, the Rights of the Child, and more. The state of Alabama passed legislation prohibiting all political subdivisions, which is counties, municipalities, towns, cities, whatever, from participating or receive funds that are Agenda 21 related. They passed that already. Missouri has proposed a bill, what's the guy's name? Lyle Rowland, District 151, that's out in Sheridan County in the middle of the state. He proposed House Bill 42. Prohibits the state and all political subdivisions from adopting or implementing United Nations or international environmental and developmental policies that infringe or restrict private property rights without due process. One of the things they do is they say an area is blighted. And then that doesn't get fixed. They take it. It's no longer yours. I don't know if you heard about the There was a guy outstate, he was raising rabbits. Do you remember the name? He was raising, like, I don't know what the real number is. Let's say he was raising 40 rabbits for sale, and he raised 41. The U.S. Agriculture Department started breathing down on him, fining him. They started out with $90,000, then they increased it to $120,000, then they increased it to, I mean, it was just exponentially. And if he would not have fought this back, they would have taken his property because it would have bankrupted him. That's an Agenda 21 goal. Fortunately, Roy Blunt stepped in and stopped it. So they're willing to, if you cause a ruckus and get enough politicians involved, they stop it. But it'll pop up someplace else, I guarantee you. And that's how they do it. There is a lot of information on Agenda 21. Like I said, I have prepared a packet. I'm glad Glendale has not signed on to it yet, and it would be wise for people to start asking about plans by the planning and zoning commissions in their municipalities to see how much they are already incorporating. You probably, I don't know, are we already using international building codes? Do you know?
Yes.
That's Agenda 21 language, international building codes. Why do we have to have building codes as they apply around the globe? Why don't we have our own? I mean, that's the kind of stuff that gets incorporated. It's like kudzu growing all over the place.
I don't understand, international building
Is
codes.
that Boca?
Does that mean that
We
we're
call it
all,
Boca.
there are certain codes that apply to
Seth
everybody?
probably
It
knows.
used to be Boca.
It used to be Boca.
Well, like, what's an example of what
Probably
might
I
be
don't-
code?
I-
Maybe it's something that we should all be.
It all sounds very
Like that a
innocent.
ceiling can't be,
And
lower
it
than,
doesn't have
4
to.
feet.
It doesn't have to be.
We'd have to kill
What's
that.
the word I'm looking for?
Not low.
Doesn't have to be bad, but it's just that's how they burn themselves into your lives.
With the ultimate goal of,
You have no property, you own nothing, you do what the government tells you, and we're all the same.
It's Russia.
That's
It's
socialism.
communist.
That's socialism. Anyway, the latest thing, I'm sure you've heard about this. You've heard about Common Core Standards. That's Agenda 21, and it's coming to our public schools.
What's that again? Common?
Common Core Standards, where our local public schools that we pay for, we no longer have a say what is taught in those schools. That is, right now it's coming from the federal government, but it's all driven by Agenda 21 goals. And maybe there's nothing wrong with it, maybe they're good goals, but wait a minute, I thought we're in charge of our own local government, right? Not some hoo-ha up in Washington.
Rita, Common Core goals have been around for years. I mean, I retired 6-7 years ago, and we were doing those for,
Yeah, but it's becoming more,
It's a
people
lot different.
becoming more aware of it.
If you want a good website, mention Gretchen's website.
Missouri Education Watchdog, you should all
we should
be,
have Gretchen come.
Yeah, she,
I'd love to hear her again.
right.
yeah.
That's another
It's very much into everything, including databases that they've already set up on all the kids that basically record everything from K, before preschool to college. And they're using this information because they feel like education should be provided cradle to college. And they're almost predestining people into certain careers.
And since they
Yeah.
want to track everything in a database, everybody has to have the same standards, everybody has to have the same curriculum, everybody has to have whatever, the
Yeah.
same, so they can track it, right? You can't track anything if every school has a different curriculum,
Yeah,
can you?
teachers have already complained about the math part of it, that's being written kind of in secret, and that, like, what's being taught in 9th grade is now gonna be not taught till 10th grade, and they wonder why, and they're saying, well, it's because it's a new system, but they're gonna make all the curriculum nationwide, like.
It
what-
doesn't fit into the
Yeah,
database.
so there would be a lot of local control that would be lost.
Oh, so you're saying Kirkwood, sometimes they'll introduce something in an earlier grade, but because we want to be unison,
With the whole United States.
then we won't be doing it till 10th grade.
Right.
And so if you're smarter
coming.
than someone else and tough, you
Doesn't
just have
matter.
to wait for everybody to catch up.
Doesn't
Shame on
matter.
us.
That's right.
That's how
Yeah.
I believe.
Anyway, I think I said enough. I hope I wasn't too preachy. So let's go have a glass of wine now. I'm ready. Yes,
Got a question.
yes.
You know more about the small arms treaty?
I do not, but I'm sure you can look it up. I think the Senate or the Congress turned it down, but, this is being pushed to go through the Congress.
Well, my understanding is that it won't get through the Congress, but if the Secretary of State signs the treaty,
It's done,
it's done.
right,
And that means they'll knock on your door and collect all your guns.
eventually. That's what they're trying to get to. I want to make one comment that has upset me very much. We talked earlier about the Obama's speech. I did not hear it, but I read about this one particular item. And he does this periodically. He says something on a specific date to a specific country that brings back horrible memories. He said in his speech, "Peace in our time." Do you remember who said that?
Neville Chamberlain.
Neville Chamberlain. Now, why would he say that in his acceptance speech, or in his, whatever, what was it? Inaugural speech. Why would he say that? People say, oh, he doesn't know what that means.
No, because he's a wimp and he's not a leader.
Yeah, but what does that imply when he says, peace in our time?
That means he's not gonna do anything. He's
The average
going
American
into
would feel really good
isolationism.
about that.
Sounds good.
I think he knows
Isolation.
exactly what he's doing. For instance, I don't know if you know Kristallnacht, Night of the Broken Glass.
Yes.
He did something. He made an announcement about the Jewish people. It's like, why do you do this? Or when he announced to the Polish people that he would not support their missile defense,
Well,
he said that on the 40th anniversary of when Hitler marched into Poland.
you have to understand that he's not a Christian, he's a Muslim,
Yeah,
okay? And, he goes, he went to the prayer day, which was primarily Muslim last year, and he recited the Muslim call to prayer in Arabic, and he said it was in perfect Arabic, and he said it was the most beautiful thing that he has ever heard. So that's got to tell you something.
right. But
He's not very supportive of Israel.
right, it's very upsetting to me that he says these things on very specific dates when it's just not
I'm
called for.
scared.
Yeah, it's scary. Yes.
Two little things on a positive note, while it was a bad November in a lot of ways, and we're, increasingly divided up as a country into this group and that group, and the old way of we're all Americans is kind of is dying out. The Jewish American, though, for the first time started growing, and while we're still in a minority, we went from about 20% to 30%. So we had at least a little victory in that. But on a constructive side, what's the date for the Orlando Gardens, the county
March
dinner?
28th.
March 22
All right,
and
but what's the
23.
what's the drop dead date of getting in at the low price?
February 15th.
February 15th.
It'd be good if there was either a show of hands or before when we're drinking the wine, say to Peggy that we're interested in it, so she'll know who to call to kind of remind to get the
Is
checks
it
in.
Saturday, March 22nd? Is that the date?
It's Saturday, March 23rd.
23rd.
But there's the drop dead date,
Right.
it's the 15th of
That's the
February.
weekend
Get into
before.
lower,
Okay, who's
so-
interested in going to Orlando Gardens on March 23rd for
Lincoln
1, 2,
Reagan
3,
Day.
4,
Lincoln
5,
Reagan Day.
6,
$40 for an open bar and
7.
buffet.
We need
And
3
good
more.
speakers.
8.
Mark Reardon from 97.1 and.
I'm sorry, I have the flyers up there. I don't have
All
my
right, so
flyer.
you got kind of an idea,
Hold
and
on,
then
I didn't
the
see
I tell you what, I'm
Who
gonna
else
say-
raise their
They
hands?
did.
You guys possibly, good. All right, I'm not sure what your first name is.
Lee.
Lee, okay. What did you
It's
say?
the week after.
It's March. It's March. February is the one of the whole statewide.
Yeah,
one, down
February
to
comes
Renaissance.
before March, and
Yeah.
then March is later.
Yeah,
That's that.
in March.
I'll tell you what, I'll send an email around and you can all respond
Oh,
to me,
good.
whoever wants to come, okay?
Good,
Yeah.
good.
And talk to
Please.
Rich after the meeting. There's somebody who unfortunately wants to be taken off our list, and I just can't imagine who would.
Well, I got one and I took her off.
Oh, you did?
Donna?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I took her off.
Yeah, she was frustrated.
You didn't want her anyway.
Another positive note, we have, what, over 30 Republican governors
Yes,
that are doing remarkable things in their state,
Yes.
including balancing their budget.
Good.
So that's very positive. I
And
think, in this country.
educational reform and all that stuff, so.
I think the party is doing well at the grassroots level and at the state level. It's not doing so well at the national level.
And that's where the problem is.
And maybe we can do something about that, right? We have to start someplace.
Roll up your sleeves.
Everybody. Okay. Who's ready for a glass of wine?
Thanks for coming.
Thank you all for coming. It's quite successful. We have somebody from the Democratic Party here. Can we come to your meeting next?
If I might, I'd like to invite you next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock in the Webster Rose Public Library, their newly remodeled public library. And the announcement, in case you forget, will be in the Webster Curtain. We're having a speaker who will be talking about public transportation in the metropolitan area. The Jefferson Township Democratic Club is not apolitical, but we usually have issue-oriented speakers rather than politically oriented speakers. And you're all welcome to come. You don't have to join. And we don't have wine.
What time is it?
7 o'clock.
And where?
It's in the
The Webster
Webster
Library.
Rose Library, the newly
You can see
remodeled
the new
library.
library.
The meeting room is in the back.
Okay, thank you.
If you like, I can tell you the speaker's name. I don't know the gentleman myself, but somebody named,
I know this gentleman, I always forget his name, but he always runs the,
he's the president and CEO of Metro Transit St. Louis, a guy named John Nations.
Oh, sure. He used to be the mayor of Chesterfield. Is he still? I don't guess he is.
this gentleman runs the polling place at the Webster Recplex, so I get to talk to him.
So we see each other. How many times this year? Not as often as last.
We didn't even make it twice. Usually make it 3 rounds.
And one of the reasons I'm here is because I saw your blurb in the Webster Kirkwood Times, and I know the feeling that you're expressing here tonight because I can think back, 8 years and 12 years ago, we were saying much the same thing in our meetings. And politics is like that. It's amazing that our country has survived as long as it has with the imperfect system that we've had. But of all the bad systems, it's still the best of the bad. So, and I thank you for having me here. I think we can talk civilly to each other.
Yes.
I'm very impressed with a certain representative and state senator that live on this side of the Webster-Kirkwood divide. And I think that with more candidates like that, the Republicans will have better success in the future.
Okay. Thank you.
Sarah,
One of the things that sustained me after the election, I knew exactly how the Democrats felt in 04. They were besides themselves, but they're still besides themselves about that election. But they survived. We will survive too.
You will.
Will the country survive? That's the
Yes.
question.
Well, we wondered that as 2008 was drawing to a close, whether we were going to survive the second George Bush, and we did. And I'm sure you're wondering the same thing about will we survive.